It's a pleasure to be here this evening for our second show. We have a very special guest this evening. But first, let me give you some housekeeping tips. We are going to have some Q&A. We'll be able to answer your questions live, and how you can reach us and let us know what's on your mind is by contacting us through Twitter. Our call sign is @RoyalAlliance1. We'll also be monitoring our Facebook chat. So if you're on the Royal Alliance Facebook, if you friended us, we'll be able to see you talk to us that way. Also, I'd like to remind you that tomorrow this recording will be live as well. And if you haven't already connected to us, the Royal Alliance, through either Twitter, Facebook, or our Google Plus accounts, go ahead and do that. Add us to your circles, or friend us, or follow us. And we will be able to keep you posted with what's going on in the Royal Alliance. All the Royal Diamonds worldwide are starting to plug into that and communicating to you through that. And you'll be able to be notified of upcoming events such as this event, which is every second Tuesday. I would like to dedicate tonight's show to a very special friend of mine who recently passed. And he will be sadly missed, although I know his spirit is with us and certainly lives within our hearts. Those of us he's touched, Dr. Rob Mason, we will miss you. And in light of the fact that our theme tonight is purpose, I just wanted to mention that I know in times like this, it's often difficult to understand what the purpose is when someone should leave us so soon. But I do know and have faith that there in fact is a purpose for this even. And I wouldn't doubt if he's going to be helping me with this show tonight. So in lieu of that, I'm going to turn our attention now to our special guest and welcome. Well, this is a long time coming. This is a dear friend, a colleague, someone I've known pretty much all my Nikken career. She's grown to be one of the superstars in Nikken. Just an incredible talent, an amazing person to watch live. Hear her speak, hear what she has to talk about. She speaks with a sense of purpose and passion like no one I know in Nikken. We often jokingly call each other brother and sister, and there's more to that, and maybe we'll get to it tonight. But Julie is, without a doubt, one of the brightest stars in Nikken, and rightly so, was crowned as the Consultant of the Year in 2012. And I'm so happy to have Julie Tara, Royal Diamond Consultant, on our show this evening. Hi, Julie.
Hey, Mike. Thank you so much for asking me to be on. It's really my pleasure, and I'm really excited about tonight's call.
Well, Julie, I have something in mind, so I'm going to see if I can figure out how to do this, because this is not something I typically do. So give me a second while I figure out how to do this. I believe I need to...
Oh, there! Oh,
yeah. We're going to get the bugs out of this. I'm just learning how to use this. But do you remember that day?
Yes, I was sitting
right next I wanted to take you back a little bit because this was a very, very, very special moment in time for both of us, actually. And this is, of course, last year at the Nikken convention. We're about a week away from the next convention, and where they'll announce, of course, another Consultant of the Year. And I just thought I'd take a minute to bring us back to that point in time, because it's not very many people who have experienced the epoch, if you will, of success in Nikken, being recognized by your peers and by your closest friends as the Consultant of the Year.
That's one of my favorite pictures right there. Yeah, it was so sweet. Well, I was sitting right next to you, and I remember when they called my name, and I just said no, and you said yes, and I said no, and you said yes, and then you lifted me up.
Well, Julie, you didn't say no, you screamed no. No! I remember how vivid that was. Oh my God. Okay, I'm going to just turn this slide off so that it doesn't interfere with my signal. Hopefully you can see me back now. Am I back?
Yes, I see you now.
Okay. Wow. So go back to that moment. I mean, you didn't even believe it could have been you. Why?
I don't know. I remember when you won it, and I remember you standing there and just tears falling down your face, and I remember all of us crying and being so moved. for you, and I remember Reed winning it and different people over the years. And you know, I don't know, I had written it down, not on a life cycle plan, I'd written it down on a piece of paper at some point, you know, a goal, just as a goal, like, wouldn't that be fun? But when it actually happened, it was so overwhelming. And it was very strange, because the night before I had woken up and heard a voice saying, "Bow down low to the rainbow." And I didn't understand what that meant. And then when I walked into the Nikan convention, it was all rainbow colors. I don't know if you remember, but it was all rainbow colors. And I thought, that's really funny. I don't remember seeing Nikan do it that way before. And then, you know, when that happened, you know, when I thought I was going to fall down and faint, actually. I really didn't think I could stand. And when I went up and stood on the stage, I really felt the presence of my mother and my father, who both passed on. And when they gave me that crystal, it just shone rainbow colors. And I just was thinking of that voice that said, you know, bow down low to the rainbow. And I just thought, this really doesn't have anything to do with me. This is something, this is God at work, or at play, I should say. This is God at play. This is something, and I felt it all with Nikan from the very beginning. I don't know really how to make it all happen. I try to get out of the way and let spirit move, and that's what I knew when I was standing there, was that's really was the truth of it, was that that all the glory goes to spirit. And you know, it was very 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 humbling to stand there and experience all of that. So it's very difficult to put it into words.
And you regained your composure quite quickly too. I remember. You know, I got to just share with you from you this moment. You know, I'm a guy who looks for signs, and I know you are, and I'm sure we're going to get into that. And for me, it was really important to see that you were recognized and honored, because I truly believe that your dedication and commitment to this company has, no question in my mind, been the reason why this company has been able to continue to succeed and attract the kind of people that Nikan is attracting. People who are really looking for a deeper meaning in life, a place to put their heart. And I know that there's a lot of people listening tonight who maybe don't have that connection yet with Nikan. And maybe there are some who've been with Nikan some time and have that connection. And so while this story tonight is starting on such a high, being, you know, this is the epitome of success, this is what it looks like, the view from the top of the mountain, this story is also filled with heartbreak. And I know it's true for me, and I know it's true for you.
Yeah.
And it's probably important for people to know that that's part of the journey. And maybe we can go back in time when where you were at in life when Nikan came knocking.
Well, I think you're absolutely right. In fact, I think a lot of the big work that we all do in the world, as in really giving of our true soul and in service of the greater good of all, it comes out of suffering. So very often, almost always, it comes out of suffering. And I see that a lot with people with Nikan, and in my own situation, I mean, I think that suffering happened with my mother, with her mental illness, and then my father being a doctor, not being able to help. And just to watch someone you love that much suffer, you know, all her life, that changed my life. It made me want to help others, you know, so that they wouldn't suffer the way I saw her suffering. So that's what propelled me very early on into healing, into natural healing work, and that's my background, and that's what I, you know, connect with. And I was told that my life was about healing when I was 19. So that's when that started. But the suffering, but right before Nikan, was that I had a healing center with my husband and another couple, and we had a huge center. It was a beautiful center. It was ahead of its time, and we were very undercapitalized, so we had a great vision, but we didn't really have the savvy, the business savvy, to make it work, and it was in the very early 90s, and just ahead of its time a little too much, and it went bankrupt, and it was a corporate bankruptcy, not personal, and However, we did lose everything we had because we'd thrown everything into it with a lot of gusto and passion. And I was really scared. We were 3 months late in rent, and I was afraid, and I really prayed. Really in a way that I never had before. Like I was, oh, maybe I had about my mom for sure. But I was just really on my knees saying, I don't know what I'm meant to do in this world. I know it's about healing, but, you know, please show me what I'm meant to do, because I've got to be able to pay the rent. I need to, you know, support my children. We had 3 children and 6 altogether with Bill's other 3. And it was a very scary time. And I remember the prayer. I remember saying, I'll do whatever you show me, just so long as it's true to my heart. If it's true to my heart, I'll do it. And then Nikan came, and it was so auspicious.
How long before that prayer and Nikan shows up?
Very quick, within a few days, maybe a week. 2 weeks.
The reason I bring this up is that in my 21 years with Nikan, I can't tell you how many times I've heard that story where people literally get on their hands and knees and pray, and the number generally is within 2 weeks they find out about Nikan.
Really? Yeah. I would absolutely. It was no longer than 2 weeks for sure. That would be the outside. You know, and I remember thinking, if I put this prayer out, I better look at everything that comes by. And I didn't want to do network marketing. And I didn't believe in magnets either. And I was a healer, so, you know, go figure. You'd think I would have known, but I didn't. And I was pretty arrogant and scared and shut down about it. But I remember thinking, I've put this sincere prayer out of real surrender. Because what I got was that my ego wasn't that good at making my life work. And that I had to somehow get out of the way and allow something bigger to work through me and with me, to co-create with something far greater than my little self. And so when I went to that presentation, it was simply because I thought, well, I better be open to something, anything. And that night, Reed was speaking, Reed Nelson, Royal Diamond, and literally this voice said, listen to this man, he is a messenger for you. And I listened in a very different way. I mean, really acute listening and deep listening.
When you say this voice, I mean, are we talking about something that you felt in your heart? Are you literally hearing something?
I literally heard a voice in,
wow.
I don't know if it's in my head or in my heart. It's in me. And it said that. Listen to this man, he's a messenger for you. And I did, you know. And I got it. I mean, the products had a profound effect on my back injury that night. Coincidentally, my back was killing me, and I put the back flex on my back, and it worked. You know, I had a stomach ache. I put it on my stomach, and the back flex worked, and my tummy ache went away. That was 2 things, and I heard these stories that were unbelievable, and I said, my gosh, well, I don't know if they're lying or somebody's paying them or what, but this is pretty profound things I'm hearing. And then there was Reed, and there was just something in the way he spoke, and it wasn't really the words, it was something else, some kind of transmission came from him, through him, to me, and I got it. And I left in a quick hurry. I ran out, and my head was just on fire. My brain was going, oh my gosh, you know, if these products really work like this, and they're safe, and they're non-invasive, and they're non-chemical, and they're effective, how could I not help people with this? How could I not tell people about this? I would have to tell. I mean, it would be my ethical and moral obligation to let people know. And see, that's why I didn't want it to work, because I didn't want to have that feeling. But of course I had that feeling. When you have a great, you know, when you really realize the products are so incredible and they are life-changing, what are you going to do? Not tell anybody? I mean, that's just... it's like finding the silver bullet, not telling you. I mean, you just, I could not do that, could not do that. So I took a walk and I said, is this what you are showing me? And I got a direct yes. And I said, if I do it, can I be successful? And the answer was yes. Now, I don't have any experience in business. And I know a lot of people don't have experience in business that start a Nikan business. A lot of people in Nikan have never done network marketing before, nor had I. It doesn't matter. It's your passion. It's your love. I fell in love with it, you see.
Well, Julie, was it a fast rise through the ranks, or you know, was it a quick start and then you hit a wall? Like what happened in the early start?
What happened is I went home and I told my family I'd found something incredible and I was going to change our lives within 1 year by changing others' lives, by helping others. And I set myself a 5-year plan to Royal Diamond. My first initial goal financially was $5,000 a month because that's what I needed, I felt, to make, to catch up on everything. And so I set a 5-year plan. Royal Diamond was the highest level, so I set with the end in mind, and then I worked backwards. I just made it up. I said, okay, then I'll be diamond in 3 years. I'll be platinum in a year and a half. I'll be gold in 6 months and silver in 3 months. And I just had that little piece of paper by I didn't have a desk or anything. I just had it at home. I worked off the kitchen table. I borrowed money to start because I was broke. So I borrowed $3,500 from 2 people, told them I was going to build a multi-million-dollar business and I needed some seed capital. And if they'd like to lend it to me, that'd be great. And I'd pay it back as soon as I could, which I did. I made it back in 3 months. And I just took this out to everyone I knew and everyone I loved and just said, I don't know if this is for you or not. I really don't, but I'm going to build a multi-million-dollar business with this, and nobody's got this, and everybody needs it. And I'm looking for partners. I'm looking for playmates. I want to have fun, and I want to change the world, and I want us all to make money along the way. So, you know, I just started sponsoring people. I went silver the 2nd month, gold in the 10th month, platinum in the 12th month, diamond in 2 years and 7 months from the beginning, and royal diamond in 3 years and 10 months from the beginning. So that was the time period.
And you've been with Nika now how long?
17 years.
Was there ever a time where you felt like quitting?
Yes, there were a couple times that were really, really hard for me. Really hard. One of the things I've loved is that, you know, close friends became, you know, consultants with me, you know, became part of the team, and I had people leave for different reasons, and I felt really hurt and really, really betrayed, and I wanted to quit. And I do remember, and I was already making incredible income, so it wasn't about that. I just felt so abandoned, I think was the word. So I thought about it seriously one night, and I remember going to sleep, and I had met Mr. Masuda a couple of times. In fact, I danced with him at a party once, and I heard him call my name in the night. It makes me want to cry, because he called my name, just Julie, and I realized I couldn't leave, that this was part of my destiny, and that it would be, you know, like a slap in the face of God to leave when I, you know, knew that this was what I was supposed to do. And I got up early in the morning, and I just thought, no, you know, just because other people leave doesn't mean I have to leave. Yes, I was hurt. I had to work on my own issues with abandonment, because I had a lot of issues with abandonment as a child. And so now when it happens, again, if it happens, I try to look at how am I abandoning me? You know, why am I having it reflected in the outer world? What am I abandoning in myself that is causing that reflection? So that's how I try to work with things like that, and not to feel bad or guilty or anything, but just to take responsibility that if I'm a co-creator of my existence, then I need to take responsibility, and that maybe I'm doing things unconsciously or consciously that is causing that abandonment.
Wow. I just want to make it, totally makes sense. I just want to make a note for anyone who wants to participate in our call this evening. If you'd like to ask a question of myself or Julie, you can tweet us at Royal Alliance 1. We're also checking the Royal Alliance Facebook chat. If you have something that you'd like to share with us, or not share with us, but ask of Julie. Julie, Drew, I just want to sort of take you back a little bit, because you and I have really this really remarkable relationship. I know that when I'm going through something tough, and I know that when you're going through something tough, and sometimes we don't even know that it's happening to the other, but we seem to be doing a lot of it in tandem. You and I seem to be leading parallel lives, in a sense. You're the yin and the yang of that experience. And while people may get the impression that as Royal Diamonds and earning lots of money and so forth is, the epitome of success. I know that that's not what turns you on. It's not what turns me on. It's certainly necessary, and it certainly makes it possible for us to do it the way we love to do it, which is to as many places and help as many people as possible. So it enhances our ability to do that. But that's not the driving force behind this. But I remember when you first met me. Do you remember that? In Japan. We were at a restaurant. I don't even remember what it was about, but I just remember, boy, you were looking at me with dagger eyes. What was that about? What happened? How did you hear about me, and why did you hate me?
I never hated you. I never hated you. We were having, I think it was breakfast, and I think Ellen Kendall was with us at that time, and we were talking about metaphysics. And I was talking about metaphysics, and you were just disagreeing very bluntly, and you started kind of rapid firing. And I started to interject, and then you kept going, and then I started to just withdraw, because that's kind of how I deal with things. I don't like conflict. So I withdrew, and then I said, Mike, I said, why do you do this? You're like on the tennis court, and you're volleying all these balls at me, and I've already left the court, and you don't even notice that I'm gone. And then I remember that, because I remember asking you, when did that first start in your life? And you said, I think I was very little, a little boy, and you started to cry. And then I knew something really big was being, something big was happening, and that you were really realizing something that you had never realized before about that. That place where we all get defended and defensive, and it had come from being little and not being heard, and trying to be heard and be heard. And it was a very beautiful thing, because we somehow, both of us, cracked open, I think, and in that we became really firm friends forever, I think.
Wow. You're bringing tears to my eyes as you're bringing back memories here. And it's true. We have dodged a lot of bullets together, you and I, and we do counsel each other a lot. I want people to know that, because I trust you implicitly. I know that your heart is always in the right place. And while you and I may disagree at times in certain things, we do respect each other's opinion. And that's one of the things that I think having relationships that you develop in Nikken is so unique, because we're tied together through a common sense of purpose. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, I think for people like yourself and I, and there are definitely many others like us, there is a very, very deep calling. That Nikken is not just a business, although it's a wonderful business. And it's not just about products, although the products are absolutely extraordinary. And I love it all. I love it all, and I can't wait further this or that. But I think we knew we were called. I know for myself as a child, I knew that I was supposed to do something that was important in the world. I knew it from very young, and I always was asking the stars, hey stars, why am I here? Why did you send me? And so I think this calling, it's so much deeper than any kind of logic of the left brain. It's even bigger than just a heart feeling, because heart is love, but this is a kind of must. I must flow into this, and this is about the people. It's the people in a big sense. It's humanity. It's about humanity not just surviving, which they need these products for survival. I really believe that, given the EMF fields, the chemtrails, the chemicals in the soils, you name it, we need these products and these technologies to protect ourselves. But it's much bigger than that. It's really about, well, in my belief, in my version of it, is it's about really helping people to open their consciousness, to rise to a higher level of consciousness, to really awaken fully on the planet at this time, which so many prophecies talk about, this time of awakening. And the products help us awaken. The products themselves help us awaken, and the business helps us, because it calls us to help others and to love others and to serve others, as every every text, religious text would say, you know, love your brother as yourself. And we learn about that and how to really serve others and, you know, get ourselves out of the way. And it's about people thriving. It's about celebration. It's not just to survive, it's to really thrive. And that's where the 5 pillars of health is such a core value for you and for me and the humans being more. If this wasn't about us graduating as a human species to the next level, I don't know if it would always interest me to the level that it does. But it fascinates me on a daily basis because I see people really grow and break through their past conditioning to become fully free, and that's a big, big thing.
Now, you and I share that very, very clearly, this ideology and this understanding of what Nikken is as a vehicle, as a tool for both of us and for others to facilitate a process for others like it was for us. Maybe some of us came into this with a little bit more understanding of ourselves and our need to be connected to a purpose, and others have been discovering it along the way. There's obviously events that have taken place. Is there a specific event that you recall in your Nikken life, maybe even in the early stages, where it was the anchor upon which you've reflected back on at times?
Yes, actually, the third night on the sleep system, which I borrowed from my friend who introduced me to Nikken, I had a very profound dream of the map of, it was actually so cool because it was the Nikken headquarters, but it was in California, and it was a big headquarters, which it didn't even exist at that time. I mean, we had that little teeny office at Wilshire Boulevard, but we didn't have our big. So this is really cool, and it had a room in it with a map of the world, and we were all standing in line in the dream with a little card each, and we put the card in the side of the map, and it would light up with the bulbs, little tiny light bulbs around the map where your organization was. So each person, it would light up in different places, which I think is a super cool idea, and I really think Nikken should do this for all of us to be fun. And so in the dream, I walked up and put it in, and all the whole map of the world started lighting up with these lights. And I woke up instantly. I woke up and I sat up and I said, wow, are you telling me that this is a way or the way I can help light up the world with other people who want to light up the world? Really light up the world. And I got such a clear yes on that. I said, now I understand why I'm supposed to do this. Now I really understand it deeply. And you know, I think about it all the time because sometimes, you know, you get kind of stuck, or I get stuck in little places. This person left, or something happened, or this leg didn't really flower the way you thought it was going to. But then I hear someone like, I have a relatively new diamond who just brought 100 people to the Ukraine opening in her business, and she's already got like 12,000 people in her business. And I thought, here's a woman I never knew before. She's several levels below me, not too many levels, which is nice. And she's lighting up the world, and I'm helping her light up the world. And she's brought 100 people to the Ukraine. And I talked to this one guy who said, you know, in Romania we make about $350 a month. So for one of us to go senior or executive, that's a big deal. And I was just crying on Skype with him going, I can't imagine making $350 a month. Wow, and how do you take care of your family on that? And you see, it just, you know, like, it's just so amazing because like her vision, Karina's, is to help all the women of Eastern Europe to become empowered on every level, not just financially, but financial is a big one. And women need to become empowered financially. They have never been empowered financially unless you were born a queen or a princess or something. We didn't, we've all struggled with those old, suppression. And so she's out there doing this, and I'm thinking of that dream. I'm thinking that dream is materializing bit by bit by bit. Today I had a call with a woman and her friend in France for Peru. And we were talking about opening Peru. They're both Peruvian. So one's in America, one's in France, and we're talking about Peru, and we're talking about Machu Picchu and going there and setting things right in Peru. And we're talking about they have no good water, no good air. You could create a huge business just on water and air in Peru. these are the things when I think
it hasn't just, it's not just the people in your organization downline that you're working with. You just recently broke a new silver, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, I did. Joe. Yeah, Joe, he's gorgeous. I love Joe. Joe called me and left a message, and he was English. He didn't know who I was, except that he came across Nikken through the emotion code, which I suggest to people is fabulous. And thanks to Dr. Bradley Nelson, who brought that. And a lot of people are coming to Nikken from that because they see using magnets to release these trapped emotions. So he had read about it. He went to the headquarters because he lived nearby in Long Beach. And then he saw my picture. And then he looked me up, and then he called me. And I called him right back. And he laughed because, of course, I'm English and he's English. And we just got on great from the beginning. And I went to visit his family. He went silver in the first few weeks before I ever met him. Wow. And then I met, with his wife and his kids, and I stayed with them, and we did presentations in his house, and we went to the Nikken headquarters. And his downline have had some profound experiences with the products. I mean, really big deals, like not having to use a wheelchair, stuff like that. Big.
Wow.
Yeah. And he's just a delight, and he's coming this weekend, and he's going to do Humans Being More with his wife, and I just love them both, and I love their kids, and it's just, it's magic.
That's awesome. So you're telling me that a Royal Diamond doesn't retire?
Well, personally, I don't know how everybody holds this, but I never thought I would retire my entire life. I mean, why? I retire from what? From life? I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't want to retire. I love what I do. I love what I do. I just sponsored a friend of mine in Boulder last week, and I went to see her yesterday, and we sat and talked, and we looked at things on the website. And I bumped into her today as I went to pick up a pen and at a shop. And, we just hugged each other, and I just said, I am so excited to be able to work with you. I said, it's such an honor. She's such a lovely woman, and she just wasn't ready until now. She'd been married 35 years. Her husband happened to have left, which is very sad. Maybe not. I don't know. But right now, she's vulnerable. But she said, he was never that excited about Nikken. But she said, I was always excited about Nikken, and now I want to do it. Now I'm ready. Now I'm free, and now I want to do it. And I'm like, let's go, girl. Let's have some fun, and let's help the world. And she's a healer. She's a herbalist. She's very famous. She's,
So it seems, Julie, that your enthusiasm is just over the top. I mean, it's unquestionable that you are drawing people to you through the law of attraction because you are vibrating at such a high frequency. But again, bringing it back to some of the people out there who maybe haven't gotten there yet, or just working their way up to that. And I know that because you and I have talked. There have been times where you and I have second-guessed whether or not even Nikken as a company was on the same page as us. Maybe we see something that those who are running the company don't even see themselves. And is that okay, by the way? Is it okay if we see something bigger than they do?
Oh, I think absolutely. I think absolutely so. And I do believe that Mr. Masuda had quite a revelation when this came. I mean, whatever you call it, I would call it a download of divine information. But I do feel like Nikken has a divine contract, a divine mission, a divine covenant with Spirit to help this world to heal. And we definitely need healing in this world at this time. There's just no question. As far as, with high vibration, I think anyone who really wants to succeed, I really study people a lot. Like I'm right now studying Tony Robbins, and I'm really fascinated by how he speaks about being in state, being, and really learning how to be empowered every day, how to really manifest your personal power. And I think that's what we teach in Nikken, and what leaders learn is that they actually do have control over how their state is. There are some days when I'm, just not in a good mood, or I'm sad, or I miss my kids. They live all over the world, and some days I just miss them. And I don't feel like calling someone about Nikken, and I just go take a walk around the lake, or I go work out, or I do something different. But I think it's incumbent upon us to learn that we have the control of opening up to the highest states, and to live from joy, and to live from love. and to live from peace. And so that's what I aim for. I don't always reach it, just like anybody. I'm a human being, and it can be hard, and life is full of challenges, but I think this is much bigger than any challenge. This is much bigger than any
you're bringing up something that I think is really worth noting, and that is you're saying that if your purpose in life and your connection to that purpose has greater meaning and greater value to you than any challenge that you may face, when you put one up against the other, then you have the means to overcome that challenge, and to focus on what is your purpose and your connection to that purpose and the means by which you can live that purpose. Because I know you and I have been challenged in many ways, personally, on our family level and so forth, but here we are still. The one thing I've been doing the longest is my Nikken business, 21 years consistently. And I did want to ask you something else, and that was, Consultant of the Year 2012, to me, the sign that I was interested in was that it was 2012, that it was representative of the year that I believe the big changes that are synonymous with the person I know you to be and what you represent are to happen on the planet, to see these changes within the hearts of man on a mass scale, is what these prophecies are all about, and so forth, if you've done the homework. But the Consultant of the Year is sort of a moment in time, but you've had quite a career with Nikken, so I'm wondering if there been times outside, or is there a moment outside of the Consultant of the Year which you might have as your maybe second most proudest moment? What is that?
I don't even know if the word pride, I question about the word even pride. It's more just a sense of alignment and a thank you and a gratitude for listening and for being in alignment and doing what I was asked to do. It's more like that than a sense of pride, like, cool, you go, Julie Tara. It's kind of not like that. People that know me well know that I really struggle a lot with confidence, self-confidence. I've always struggled with that, because I think I got so shut down as a kid because of so much criticism in my ballet career. So I learned that one day in the Course in Miracles, I learned that, you don't have to have confidence in yourself. You just have to have confidence in God. And that really helped me a lot. But I want to try to answer your question. The 2012, well, there's two things there.
Well, a moment outside of that, and this is a question Bobby's asking, so thanks, Bobby, for the question. A proud moment other than the Cody Award.
Yes, I think that the moment that happened was when I was in the cafe and I saw the little boy with cerebral palsy, and I wanted to say something and I was too scared. And then finally I went over and said to his mom, have you ever thought of, using magnets to help your son? And they came to my house. She lit up actually like a Christmas tree and said, wow, I've heard of magnets. I don't know where to get them. And I said, maybe I can help. And they came to the house, and literally in about 30 minutes, this boy, he just transformed. His feet were warm for the first time ever. His head, he could hold it up. Normally he couldn't, and he could hold it up. His hands, from being all curled up, released and opened. He turned to his mom and he smiled. He looked at me first, kind of quizzically, and I knew his brain was perfect. And he turned to his mom and said, it works. It works. He said it twice. And she started to cry, and she said, God sent you. Now that moment was, I just started crying, actually. And then what happened subsequently was they were completely broke and had no money, and Nikken gave them a wellness home. And the day I got the email that Nikken, because I put them in for that as a request, and they
You're talking about the Wellness Home Initiative.
The Wellness Home Initiative, right? And Nikken gave them and honestly, being on that phone call, I think that's when I felt so big. Like my heart felt so big. I was bawling my eyes out. Pat Elkins was saying to them, you have won a wellness home from Nikken. Nikken's giving you this king-size bed, everything of Nikken's they gave to the boy. And I just thought, this is good. This is very good. This is good.
we have another question. This one's coming from Rima. What's the next 5-year goal? Where do you go from being Consultant of the Year?
Oh, that's a great question. My next goal is to be in the top 5 income earners, and I have a 5 to 7 year goal on that, and I'm excited about that. And the reason I'm excited about it is because it's going to mean that I will have affected a lot more lives, and really fundamentally, you know, I'm the happiest when I feel like I can just be a blessing for people, and that's what Nikken gives me the privilege to feel that on a daily basis, that I can be a blessing. And so that's the goal, you know. That's why, because I want to help a lot more, and especially for me, you know, help people. It's not just physical, it's helping them mentally, it's helping them emotionally. I've seen so much mental illness. I see children suffering everywhere. I see children on drugs all the time. It's just tearing my heart out how sick our world has become. Not just our culture, our world has become. And you know what? I'm all about it. I am all about it. Health reform, we have to move into prevention. We can help people to be happy. They use these products and they feel happy. Now that's scientifically proved. That's not just some crazy idea. You feel happier, more positive, more mentally focused, more physically strong and buoyant when you're on these technologies. I want everyone to have that. I want every kid off those crazy drugs, because those drugs, I've seen where those drugs take you. I saw it where it took my mother, and she never returned. She was lost, and she never came back to us. And I don't want that happening to anybody on this planet, or to any child, or any, yeah. So that's a big part of it for me. And also the financial. People suffer. People stay in relationships because they can't afford to get out of them. That's terrible. They need to make money, so they are autonomous. So they have independence, so they can make their choices from a strong place, not a weak place. And this is very important for women.
Wow, that's a huge point. And I think that, and I've seen this. I've seen the struggle myself through this business, how women are often put down by their spouses when they get involved in this business because their spouses feel threatened. They feel threatened that they're losing control and that they might actually get some freedom and some brains and whatever that somehow, or some influence outside of them that could take their power away. And obviously that's not a healthy relationship. And I'm all for moving the cause of humanity forward. And so I believe that even things like that might otherwise on the surface, you know, be met with all kinds of resistance from, you know, the neighbors or the family or the friends, that just sometimes these things are part of the evolution. You're certainly an example of what I'm talking about here. You had to go through your own struggle within your family in order for your wings to not be clipped anymore, so you could take flight. And look what happened to you. You became Consultant of the Year, and he listened to you. Who is this person? You're superhuman. And that's...
Very human. Really, very, very human. But you know, it's funny, but you mentioned the 2012, and I've always been interested in that. And even as a kid, I was interested in Mayan cultures and the Toltec heads of Mexico and the ancient tribal religions, and I love all of that. And I have a book called The Mayan Calendar 2012, The Transformation of Consciousness. And in that book, yeah, it's a great book, Carl Kalaman's book. And he says, at this time, one of the shifts that happens is that no longer will any one soul be able to control another soul. And I remember when I read that, I just was like, yeah, that's what I'm about. I want every soul to be sovereign, to know its sovereignty of being, and to have its wings fully unfurled and really fly high, because that's what gives us the greatest joy, is evolving. And of course, it's all about service. It's about being a servant leader. It's really not about yourself at all in a way, but it's a paradox. It is about you, and it's not about you. And I love that about it. But you're right. I've seen a lot of people put cramps on their spouse or partner, not always man to woman, but sometimes woman to man, or woman to woman, or man to man. It can be all many dynamics, but it is about being threatened. And they need to just trust that this is all good. And you know, every soul needs to have that autonomy so they can make the right decisions for their evolving life. And hopefully our life is always growing and always evolving and always expanding. And network marketing is a perfect vehicle to show us what expansion looks like. The expansion of your influence. I mean, Mike, your influence in Nikan has been huge. I mean, you know, oh my gosh, I mean, life is precious, and you have used your life in a precious manner. And I want to do that because we don't know if we may go tomorrow. You know, we don't know. And we don't want to waste time being asleep here. We want to do, I believe, I want to do my work. Not work. I want to do my mission, my purpose, and help others do the same. And you're like that too. And I think that's why we cry when we're on stage, or we cry when we're helping someone on a three-way call, because we see their struggle, we see them in a chrysalis, and we know they can be a butterfly. We absolutely know it. And we just want to help them along. And sometimes it's frustrating because sometimes they're too scared and they don't want to, you know, or they're not ready. And you have to be very patient and just love people and let them grow in their own time.
I got to tell you, that's probably the greatest lesson that I had to learn, Julie. I was a platinum consultant. I was doing really well, and really, really struggling with why people weren't getting it. How come my group wasn't getting it, or they weren't growing as quickly as I did myself, or could see them? And you know, I at one point in time, I made my career about teaching them what to do. So that's probably the person you met in Japan. It was a person who was very clear about what had to get done, and it didn't matter that I maybe had the perfect formula. It wasn't about that. In the end, it was simply about them growing at the speed that they were prepared to grow at. And I tell you, it was the most humbling thing. And I remember the moment it actually happened for me, where it was just an awakening to that reality. And I just remember, you know, my metaphor for this is Jesus on the cross, and he says, "Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do." And it was just transformative for me to understand that they really just don't know what they don't know. And you've got to allow them the space that they need to grow, because if you put too much pressure, then you could squash the chrysalis. And if you take a razor out and you cut the razor because you want to make it easy for them, well, they may never learn how to use their wings and strengthen the muscles of their wings so that they can take flight. So it's a very delicate balance, this thing called leadership.
Yes, I think absolutely. And I think that I had a similar frustration because I was naturally impatient to want to change the world quickly. That was the impatience. It was wanting so many more families to have these products. And, you know, I can't say that one is more important than the other. The business and products for me are completely connected. There's no separation.
Do you have a favorite product?
Oh my gosh, I love them all. I love them all, but I think my most favorite is the sleep system. I curl up in that at night and I'm so happy, and I have amazing dreams, and I feel protected and supported and loved in that cocoon, and it's very, very powerful. So I would say that would be the number one. But yes, you're right about the chrysalis thing. I think in the beginning I wanted to move fast. I wanted to transform the world, and you know, I think I did push people a little fast, and they weren't really quite ready, and it was a little like, whoa, you know, what's going on? And so now I just do my best to let people grow at their own pace. Who am I to say what that right pace is? And I'm always looking for people that are ready, like I was ready to just expand big. You know, and you never know who that's going to be, but it's kind of like I told Joe the other day, I said, Joe, it's like a treasure hunt. It's a treasure hunt, and treasure hunts are fun, and you're looking for those special people that are really ready and trust that they'll be attracted to you to work together, because I do believe that a lot of us are meant to meet during this lifetime. Maybe we knew each other before and we came back, and there's soul pods that come back together like dolphins, and we come back together to play. And I like playing. You know, I like to have fun. I really do. I don't want this to be drudgery, and it rarely has ever been drudgery for me. Because the moment it feels like that, I go do something else for a while. I go
has there been a time where it has appeared to be drudgery for you? I mean, can you connect to that? And then the question that would follow that would be, what were you thinking about? Like, how did it get to be that?
Yes. Oh, yes. Because I notice, and I've really been also revisiting this right now with Tony Robbins, and also I'm reading The Power of Intention by Wayne Dyer right now, which is a fabulous book. And what I realize is it's all about focus. It's where I put my focus. And if I put my focus on people that have left or people that are complaining or whatever, I get miserable, you know, because I put my focus on the negative. And so all I have to do is shift my focus to the positive, all the beautiful things that are happening. You know, Boulder has been gorgeous right now. I'll go out and take photographs of the trees, and I'm happy. I'm just happy being alive. And then I come back, and then something else great happens with Niken, you know. So it's about really understanding the power that we have, the power of focus and clarity, and keeping focused on what is already so, which we're already blessed. We really are. We're already, see, that's the big thing. I think that most people, and including me too, we don't always get how blessed we are. If we really understood how blessed we are, that we really are so loved and beloved, we would know we already have everything we need. Everything in this moment. We have everything. There's nothing missing. And if we could live from that every moment, really in this now, that there's nothing missing in this now. There's air, there's water, there's warmth, there's clothing, there's beauty, there's love, there's friendship, there's the glory, and that we are part of that and loved, we wouldn't suffer so. And from that, we would be able to create more of that blessedness in our world. And that's really what I want to do, is help, you know, co-create heaven on earth. I know that's a big goal, but that's what I came to do, and I think that's what you came to do.
You know, if there were more people, Julie, who adopted this, and I think what you're talking about is actually a huge leap of faith for a lot of people, but then that's what it's all about, isn't it? You know, is to operate from faith and to understand that you know, what if what you're saying is so? What if everything you just described is in fact the truth? And it's our perception that denies us the experience of that truth because we're not living it in our consciousness. In fact, I'm sure you've read a number of the kind of books that I've read. Neville Goddard, for instance, is the one I mentioned in the last call, where he talks about walking in your consciousness and assume it. The role, adopt and assume the role, walk in that assumption, and you will begin, and he also talks about denying what your senses perceive, because those are simply the manifestation of the previous assumptions that you've held in your consciousness. So deny what you see with your eyes and your senses perceive, walk in the assumption of the person you choose to be, and then it will harden into form. It will become what you experience. And it sounds to me like that's your MO. I've been thinking about asking you this question and sort of holding off. We've only got about 4 minutes left, and that is, Julie, do you follow a process? I mean, do you have like a presentation that you like to use, and you know, is there a methodology to your madness? Or, and I believe there probably is, and maybe you can tell me, but I'm sure the first, where you're coming from is first and foremost, the major part of it's 99% of the process is the attitude from where you're coming from, the expectation from where you're coming from, the walking in the assumption of the success and the joy and the love that you want to see in the world. And from there, you see it. It begins to manifest in front of you.
Yeah. That is exactly. In fact, when you said what kind of process do you have, what my first thought was the moment I wake up is I just say thank you. and I just send my love to the universe and to everything. And then I get up and I'll sing songs like kirtan songs. I'll put them on and I'll just sing along with them, and then I'll go do yoga, or I'll go work out, because I work out every day, because I think the physical body is a temple. And I go work out because I want to honor the temple, and I eat really good food because I want to honor the temple. And then, you know, when it comes to Nikken, I'm already in a great space because I've already visualized this light coming and wrapping up this planet like a mother wrapping a baby up in light, you know, with her arms.
Was it always like this? I mean, like, did you have tools to help you in this process through the years?
Yes, I've learned a lot of things to help me, because of course the ego has wounding. We're all wounded. I mean, we're all broken in different ways. I think we've all had our heart broken in different ways, and so it's learning how to. It's like unpeeling the onion or something. It's like I learned Psych-K and how to do that with my team, with anyone actually who wants it, and with myself, to release old patterns, change subconscious thinking. I read a lot of beautiful books. I don't watch television. I don't get into all the negativity around politics or anything. I am not willing to go to that low vibration. It's not where I want to live my life. My life is precious, and I choose to live it as preciously as I can. And so yeah, I do very specific things physically, mentally, emotional release work. I've done a lot of that. In fact, right after winning the Consultant of the Year award, I thought I have some big emotional release work to do, and I went and did 3 months of solid emotional release work about my childhood. And that was fantastically clearing, and because emotions take up space in the body and it holds you down. And when you release them and let go and come to terms with what's happened in your life, then you can move forward and be lighter and be more of the spirit being that you really are, become your true self. So yeah, I do a lot. I write, I go to Dream Group, and when I do Nikken, I just try to help people. I don't have a specific line or anything to say to people. I just feel like the ones who have the ears to hear and the eyes to see and the heart to know the truth, they will know. They will know the truth, and I just present it in it just to make it safe, just to be safe for them.
Wow. And on that note, I'm going to say, Julie Tara, 2012 Consultant of the Year, Royal Diamond, amazing human being. Thank you so much for being on this presentation, this show with me tonight. Any last word?
Thank you, Mike. You're just such a pleasure to work with. I feel blessed to know you and blessed to work with you and with so many other beautiful beings like yourself in Nikken. I mean, it is an extraordinary family. And just, you guys, just expect miracles, expect success, expect to be loved, expect it all to come to you. Yes, go do the work, of course, but it's not really work. It's just loving people and helping them. Just go help more people. It will all work out, I promise.
Fantastic. Wow. Thank you so much. And thank you for those who've submitted their questions through Twitter. And I'd like to just remind you that the next show, Hanging Out with Mike DiMuccio, is going to be on November the 13th. That'll be the second Tuesday of November. I look forward to seeing everyone at the Nikken convention and coming back to you with some incredible news. Very, very excited about that. And just as a reminder, you know, between now and then, enjoy every precious moment. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.